Good morning. Thank you for being here. Congressman Cummings and I just want to make quick statements and then hopefully take any questions. And really just want to make a statement that I think we've both made numerous times, that it is time to get past the Benghazi witch hunt that has happened. And I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I think it is enormously important that Congress, and particularly our two committees, exercise our oversight function. The legislative branch is supposed to exercise oversight of the executive branch. And when something happens like what happened in Benghazi, we absolutely have to investigate it. We absolutely have to exercise that oversight function in a responsible manner to figure out what happened and, most importantly, what we can do to try to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I think really that is the great tragedy of this investigation that the Republicans have led. It has not been that. It has not been the sensible exercise of oversight to get to a better policy result. It has been relentlessly partisan and a relentless effort to embarrass the administration, not to find facts, not to find better solutions and better approaches to these problems, but to desperately find something that they can use to embarrass the administration. And the fact that once again they're having yet another hearing to ask the same questions that have already been answered again, I think points that out. I mean, early on, even before, I think we were like a week into it when there was a Republican member of Congress who first mentioned the idea of impeachment over this, for crying out loud. They have consistently said that there was an order given to stand down. Never happened. Been debunked 1,000 times, and yet they keep asking the question. So, as a member of the Armed Services Committee, my biggest objection to this is that I think it makes Congress look bad, and it undermines the legitimate reason that we should be exercising oversight. We need to do that, but when you do it in a partisan circus manner, as the Republicans have done, most notably on the Government Oversight Committee, but also regrettably at times on the Armed Services Committee, we are not performing the function that we're supposed to be performing, which is smart, effective oversight to help build better policy. That's not what is happening. It's time to move on, move past the witch hunt on Benghazi, and get back to Congress doing its job the way it's supposed to do it. With that, I'll turn it over to a gentleman who's had to deal with this a lot more than I have, Congressman Elijah Cummings, the ranking member in the Government Oversight Committee.
Let's let these people get past if you don't mind. Anybody need to get by?
Thank you. Pardon us.
Good morning, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today. In the room behind us, 4-star General Carter Ham, the head of the Africa Command on the night of Benghazi attacks, will again be subjected to hours of additional questioning by members and staff. General Ham has already been to Congress on at least 6 occasions relating to Benghazi, including before both of our committees, the Oversight Committee and the Armed Services Committee. He was also interviewed by Independent Accountability Review Board, which concluded that there was no fault with the military response. Let me repeat that, no fault with the military response. It found that, and I quote, "no evidence of any undue delays in decision-making or denial of support from Washington or from the military combatant commanders," end of quote. In fact, the report found that the military response under General Ham's command helped, and I quote, "to save the lives of 2 severely wounded Americans," end of quote. Yet this man, who has dedicated his life and dedicated his career to our country, is here again. Why? This is the insulting way Republicans have conducted this investigation. Instead of honoring his service and looking for ways to save future lives, Republicans are playing a game of political gotcha with our military. I have watched with great disappointment as the Republicans have wasted millions of tax dollars in pursuit of a partisan conspiracy. They have launched repeated baseless claims about our nation's military that have turned out to be completely false. Chairman Issa has led the charge, relentlessly pursuing non-existent scandals for political purposes. In the process, he has been awarded a record 12 Pinocchios over the past 12 months by the Washington Post check finder. Last April, he received 4 Pinocchios for claiming that former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton misled Congress and personally denied security in Benghazi by signing a cable. The fact checker called this, quote, a whopper, unquote, because millions of cables go out of the State Department stamped with her name. Think about that. He accused Hillary Clinton of making false statements to Congress and the American people, and he did it on national TV. That's a very serious charge, and it was completely baseless. Did he ever apologize? No. Chairman Issa received 4 more Pinocchios earlier this year when he appeared at a fundraiser in New Hampshire and suggested that Hillary Clinton personally ordered former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta to stand down. Again, completely and utterly false. No evidence to back it up. To the contrary, just a week before he made that accusation, his Republican colleagues on this committee, the House Armed Services Committee, issued a report saying the exact opposite, that there was no stand-down order. Take a minute and think about what this suggested, that Hillary Clinton told the Secretary of Defense of the United States of America to withhold military assistance when her friend, Ambassador Chris Stevens, and 3 other Americans were dying. That is an horrendous and baseless accusation. When Chairman Issa was confronted with these unsubstantiated statements, he simply doubled down. He said it wasn't his report when it was his report. He said he never used the term stand down in an explicit way, when of course we heard exactly what he said. So the fact checker gave him 4 more Pinocchios for those claims, for a grand total of 12 Pinocchios over the last 12 months. That has to be a record. After a year and a half, I believe our country unfortunately has gotten used to these outlandish and reckless claims. But we should not when it comes to our men and women in uniform. We have had enough of the false statements, enough of the partisanship, and enough of trying to use this terrible national security incident for political gain. Frankly, it is a tremendous embarrassment for our committees. It undermines our credibility, and nobody will take us seriously. As we stand here today, and as more taxpayer resources are being wasted, we must solemnly remember what our role must be: to oversee and pursue reforms for the protection of Americans who serve our great country. And with that, I thank you.